So the big trend these days in the outdoor power equipment industry is battery-powered products. More and more companies are starting to put out battery-powered chainsaws, trimmers, leaf blowers, and a lot more battery-powered push mowers popping up now. So the big questions that everybody always has are how do they compare to the gas-powered models? How long do the batteries last? Simple questions like that because this stuff is all new. It's all relatively new. It's definitely not the old Black and Decker stuff that you're used to from 20 years ago. This is some high tech stuff here. Lithium ion batteries, a lot more involved than the older stuff was. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look here at the T435 from Husqvarna, the top-handled gas-powered saw. Is a really common saw. A lot of arborists use this. It's a pretty popular saw with Asplund and bigger companies like that. And we're going to compare it to the T536LiXP, which is Husqvarna's battery-powered top-handled saw, which is a really, really nice unit. A lot of people aren't too familiar with this, so we thought we would just kind of show you here how these two compare and take a look at some of the things they got in common and some of the big glaring differences between them. Okay, here's how a few of the features between these two saws stack up. You can see that the T536LiXP actually has a little bit faster chain speed and just a slightly larger oil tank capacity. They both have inertia activated chain brakes. The T536LiXP, they recommend a 12-inch or a 14-inch bar. Both, pretty common bars for the T435. So, size-wise, weight-wise, they're fairly close. Not a whole lot there to go by to make one really stand out from the other. So you can see here, when you add in the third top-handled saw from Husqvarna, the T540XP with the auto-tune, the T536LiXP is definitely a smaller unit compared to the two gas-powered units. So getting back to just our comparison between the T435 and the T536LiXP, we all know what's inside of the T435, the gas-powered saw. We all know, you got the routine maintenance stuff like spark plug, air filter, fuel filter. After so long, you're going to have to rebuild it. Cylinder is going to start to wear, piston's going to be wearing, that kind of stuff. You're going to start to lose compression. Normal things for a normal gas-powered engine. But what you probably don't know about is what's inside of the T536LiXP. So here's a look inside of one of them. You can see there's not really a whole lot to it. You got the electric motor right there in the center because everything is direct drive on this. The fan mounted directly onto the shaft going through the motor there, and on the other side of that shaft is right where the sprocket for the chain is mounted. So there's no clutch, nothing to slip there, all direct drive. All your power from that electric motor is going directly into your chain, which is a really good thing, no wasted energy, no wasted movement there. But as I said, you can see it's really simple. You've got your electric motor, your oil tank, your switch for your throttle, and your electric control unit down here. And, the big hole there is where your battery goes in it at. Real simple, not a whole lot involved there. Just a bunch of screws to pop this apart, and there it all is. Okay, to make a real comparison between these two saws, we need to dig into this a little bit deeper. We need to get into the financial aspects of these two saws and, take a look at what's going to cost what and which one's going to come out ahead. So the place we're going to start with this is with the BLI 200 battery. Now, that's a good all-around battery for in the T536LiXP saw. Regular price on that, regular MSRP on that battery is $199.95, and you can charge that up to 1,500 charges. Now, after 1,500 charges, you can still charge it more times it just might not run as long as it would those first 1500. It might start to, slow down a little bit, and the battery won't hold its charge as long. But they're pretty much saying, 1500 is what you can expect out of it. And they're estimating a 2-hour runtime with the T536 LIX or LiXP saw in the save mode. Now that's, running at reduced power. So we'll stick with that number for right now. But the biggest thing is we're going to start with that BLI 200 battery and the 1500 charges that you get, charge cycles that you can get out of this battery. Why is that important? Why is that a good place to start? Well, every charge of that battery, you run it from fully charged to empty, is the same thing as running a full tank of gas through the T435 gas-powered top-handled saw. So this is where we're going to start our comparison at, because this is where, the big difference between battery and gas-powered is you want to see if you're actually going to save money. I mean, that's the whole point in going with the battery-powered piece of equipment, right? Save money on the upkeep, save money on all those costs of fuel and carburetor repairs, that kind of stuff. So let's see what we come up with here. But again, we're going to start here with the BLI 200 battery and the 1500 charges and work our way out from there. So the first thing we had to do was get a price that we could use for the gasoline for the T435. Now, everywhere you go, gas prices are different. And this map right here, this is gasprices.aaa.com. This is a website of AAAs where they show you the average gas prices. You can see there in the different states, and you can check out what the different prices are and all them. And it gives you the national average for just regular gas. And then down below there, you can see where it says regular, mid-grade, premium, diesel, E85. We got that part cut off there. It's going to be in the next screen coming up. But this is where we went to try to get an idea of price for gasoline that we could use. And you see there in that red circle, it tells you like when the date was that we got this, 1/11/18. So pretty much all this information was good as of 1/11/18. So let's take a look here at the price of mid-grade gas. Okay, as you can see here, the average price for mid-grade gas in the United States at this time, $2.78.4. So now what we got to do is get a price for 50-to-1 oil, because of course you've got to mix the oil with the gas. So we went right to Husqvarna for that. We were going to go with the low smoke. We could have went with the XP, but people will argue then, I can get the low smoke cheaper. So let's save the hassle and save the arguments. We're going to go with the low smoke. The 2-gallon mix, $2.42 is the advertised price on the Husqvarna website. So that's what we're going to go with, because a lot of people do mix up 2 gallons at a time. Okay, get out your calculators, because we're going to start to crunch some numbers here. Let's start with the fuel tank capacity of the T435. It is rated at 0.55 U.S. pints. So 5.5 pints. And what we did is we converted that into gallons. The 0.55 U.S. pints is equal to 0.0687 gallons. So we rounded that number, the 0.0687, up to an even 7/100ths. Just makes the math a lot easier. I mean, it's not really that much of a difference when you're talking that kind of a number, but we rounded it up, and we're just going to go with the 7/100ths. So now we're going to take 1 gallon, and we're going to divide it by the 0.07, which is our capacity of our fuel tank in our T435, and we get 14.29. It's actually 14.28 and some change, but we just rounded it up to an even 14.29. So that means 14.29 tanks of fuel through a T435 will equal 1 gallon. Okay, we got our national average here for mid-grade gas, $2.78.4. And then we got our price for the bottle of mix oil to mix 2 gallons of fuel for $2.42. So because we're mixing 2 gallons, we got to take that $2.78.4 times 2, and then we add the $2.42 for our 50-to-1 oil, and we get $7.98 and 8 cents. So we're going to round that up to an even $8. Divide that in half, we got an even $4 a gallon for 50-to-1 fuel. That's mixing it up yourself, 2 gallons at a time, mid-grade with the low smoke. If you use premium gas, it's going to be higher. If you use XP oil, it's going to be higher. If you use another brand's higher end oil, it's going to be higher. We recommend going with the better premium oil because it's going to make your equipment last longer. But like we said, for argument's sake, because somebody's going to say, oh, I can get the low smoke cheaper, that's what we're going to use because we want to avoid as many of those arguments as we can. So there we are. According to the national average and using the low smoke oil, $4 a gallon to make a gallon of 50-to-1 fuel using a bottle of mixed oil to mix up 2 gallons at a time. Okay, what we got going on here is we did the math earlier. Remember that 14.29 tanks of fuel from a T435 equals 1 gallon. Well, we need to figure out how many gallons are going to be in 1,500 tanks of fuel to make the even comparison to that BLI 200 battery and the 1,500 charges that we can get out of it. So we're going to take 1,500, we're going to divide it by 14.29, and that gives us 104.968, which we'll round up to 105. So 105 gallons of fuel to make 1,500 full tanks of gas in a T435 chainsaw. You can see the math right there. Break out your calculator, double check us if you want, but that's what it comes out to. So now for the easy math. We know it's going to take 105 gallons to get that 1,500 tanks of fuel through that T435, and we figured out $4 a gallon for our gas. So 105 gallons at $4 a gallon, we're looking at $420 to run 1,500 tanks of fuel in a T435. Now, as you can see there, the BLI 200 battery, $199.95. That's a savings of $220.05 to get 1,500 runs out of that battery-powered chainsaw, the T536LiXP, compared to 1,500 runs out of that T435. I know. You're probably saying, well, there's got to be more to it than that. Okay, we can go deeper than that. There's some more numbers we can throw in here. So let's take a look at what else we got. Let's break this down a little bit more. Now, we took some time and we asked some guys that use these T435s a lot more often than we do for a lot longer period of the day than we do. And the answer we were getting back, when we say, well, how long does your saw usually run on a full tank of fuel, was about 45 minutes. Now, we know that's going to count some idling. That's going to count climbing around in a tree. But, hey, we'll give it to you. We'll go with that 3/4 of an hour, that 45-minute run time on one tank of fuel, and we're going to throw that right into the equation. So as you can see here, we got the 3/4 of an hour of run time, and then 8 hours a day for the professional guys using this, Asplund, people like that. So it comes out to 6 hours of actual run time, in an 8-hour day. That's probably a bit inflated, but hey, that was the feedback we got from the people that use them, so that's what we're going to go with. Then you take the 365 days a year, minus 52 for the Saturdays. We're just basing this on 52 weeks in a year. So we take away 52 for the Saturdays, 52 for the Sundays. We got 262 days left out of the 365. So at 6 hours a day for 260 days a year, you're coming out to 1,572 hours. What does that mean? Well, let's take a look. So 1,572 actual working hours a year is the average we're getting for these T435s if you're running it, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for an entire year, right? Okay, so if we're figuring 3/4 of an hour runtime for a tank, we're going to take that 1,572, divide it by 3/4, and we're coming out with 2,096 tanks of fuel. Based on the run times there, like we say, this is just an average. And as you can see there, average of 2,096 tanks of fuel a year running a T435 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. That equals 146.68 gallons of 50-to-1 fuel. How did we get that? We took that 2,096 tanks of fuel and divided that by the 14.29, which is how many tanks of fuel in a T435 it takes to make 1 gallon, and we come up with the 146.675. So why is that number important? Well, we can take that 146.68 gallons and multiply that by the $4 a gallon, coming out to $586.72. At current average prices, it would cost an estimated $586.72 a year just in 50-to-1 fuel to run a T435 for 6 hours a day for 5 days a week. Now, in the first year of ownership of that T435, you won't have a whole lot of problems, but you're going to have the common maintenance stuff like an air filter, fuel filter, spark plug. So we listed some of that stuff on here, part numbers, and the current prices coming right directly from the Husqvarna dealer portal website. This is the genuine Husqvarna parts and their suggested retail prices. I'm sure somebody's going to argue they can get something aftermarket, blah, 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 whatever. We're going with the genuine parts because, hey, that's what you should be using anyway. But you can see there, like I said, you're going to use air filter, you're going to use a fuel filter, you're going to use a spark plug. You're going to probably use more than that, more than 1 or 2 of them a year, the air filter, the fuel filter, and the spark plug. But they're listed on there. We got a few other odds and end parts. But then you can see over here to the side on the right where we got the piston and cylinder to replace that. A little over $74, and a new crankshaft, $156.60. So now let's compare that to the prices of some of these parts for the T536LiXP. Of course, the main question everybody's going to want to know is, how much is that electric motor going to cost me if that goes out? Well, first of all, it's a sealed brushless motor, so it's going to last you quite a while. But if you do have to replace it right now, current price, as you see there, just a little over $143. The trigger assembly, which is a switch under there, kind of like a safety switch in a ride mower or something like that. $15, almost $16 for that. You can get a whole wiring assembly there for just over $41. The keypad, say get a hole in that or something, it finally wears through. You're looking at $8. The control unit. Now, that's the electronic module inside there. You can get that control unit for $154. That comes with the $41 wiring harness. That comes with the trigger switch, and I think 1 or 2 other things. So you can practically rebuild this electric saw for next to nothing there if you ever do have a problem, compared to a major rebuild on that T435. So here's the numbers for the first year purchasing the saws, and we're going to add in an air filter, a spark plug, and a fuel filter for the T435. You run 1,500 tanks of fuel through that thing, you're going to use more than 1 spark plug, you're going to use more than 1 fuel filter. Air filter, you should use more than 1, but hey, somebody's going to keep cleaning it out. But whatever, for argument's sake, we're just listing 1 of each of those parts on there. To buy the saw with the 12-inch bar, your 1,500 tanks of fuel, which we figured up to $420 based on the national average, and the air filter at $14.71, the spark plug at $4.25, and the fuel filter at $5.50. Prices there coming off of the Husqvarna dealer website. Grand total, $764.41 that first year. Now, like we said, there's going to be more costs than that because you're going to use more air filters and stuff, but it's not worth the argument. So, the T536LiXP, $399.95 for the saw, basically $200 for the BLI 200 battery, and then we're going to add in the QC 330 charger, because if you don't already have a charger, of course, you're going to need one of them, another $129. So for this package, for the T536LiXP, you're coming up to $729.85. So you're already saving some money there. Now, if you've already got a charger, say you've got the battery powered trimmer or something like that, you don't need to buy the charger. So that would take another $130 off of that total there. Um, you could always go with a BLI 100 battery, but I'd recommend staying with the 200. Um, and the thing you're probably going to want to do is you're probably actually going to buy two of those BLI 200 batteries. And that way, just because when one goes dead, you don't have to wait for it to charge. These things will charge faster than you will run them dead. So if you've got two of them, you're not going to have to stop working. You're just going to be able to keep going and keep swapping batteries out. Now, that will raise this price another $200. But as we saw before, if you're using this for an entire year, you're going to be spending much more than $420 on that 1,500 tanks of fuel, because you're going to go through way more than 1,500 tanks of fuel. You're going to be up over 2,000. So you're still going to end up coming out ahead if you buy the two batteries. But the second year, it becomes a no-brainer. Again, we're going with just one fuel filter, one air filter, and one spark plug, and just the 1,500 tanks of fuel, $444.46, compared to you buying another BLI 200 battery for $200. You could actually buy two more batteries the second year and still come out ahead. You'd be looking at just under $400 compared to that $444.46 with the T435. And like we said, you're going to use more than one spark plug, more than one air filter for 1,500 tanks of gas. But, for argument's sake, we're just going to leave it at one each. So anyway, you're still coming out ahead. And as the years go on, you buy a few more batteries, you're still coming out way ahead with this T536LiXP. So if you buy two batteries the second year, you've already got two from the first year if you buy the two of them at the time you buy the saw. So now you've got four batteries. Those four you had, or the two you had from the first year, you're still going to be able to use them. You might not get the full runtime out of them, but you're still going to be able to use them, So you're just going to be able to keep cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. And, of course, we're going to get the guys that are going to complain and say, well, what about electricity? You got to put electricity, on that because you've got to charge the batteries up. Buy a small, cheap power inverter to put in your truck, That way they're charging on the way to the job site, or, they're charging at the job site. Who says you got to plug it into a wall? These don't have to be charged in your shop, and then you run out to the job site and run them until they're empty and drive back to your shop to charge them back up. This is the way to do it. Put a power inverter in there, charge them on the go. Real simple. So this is a better idea here of which saw comes out ahead as far as cost of ownership and upkeep and things like that. The T536LXI or LiXP, it's tough to beat. We went low end on all this stuff with that T435 and those figures. Like we said before, you have premium. If you're using premium fuel, it's going to cost you more for your fuel. If you use the XP oil, it's going to cost you more. Heck, if you want to use Echo Red Armor, it's going to cost you more. If you want to use the Steel HP, it's going to cost you more. You add in stuff like that, it's just going to keep raising the cost on that T435, where the T536LiXP, those are the numbers that are going to stay the same there. If you're running the cans of pre-mixed fuel in your equipment, whether it's Husqvarna or another brand, you're going to be even higher per gallon, and you're gonna jump those gas numbers way up if you're running pre-mixed. This is better than pre-mixed. You have no carburetor on this saw, so you don't have to worry about carburetor problems. You don't have to worry about any of that on down the road. This takes all that stuff out of the picture, out of the equation. Not all that downtime for stuff like that. No broken fuel lines. No broken pull ropes, no broken recoil springs. It just, that's all stuff with a regular gas powered saw. It doesn't matter what brand you got, you're going to deal with those issues. This T536LX or LiXP, you're getting the same performance out of it and way less costs in maintenance and upkeep, and you're eliminating all those fuel costs. So it's definitely an eye opener. I mean, it was for us when we started crunching these numbers. So hopefully this helps some of you guys out to realize what you could be saving if you go this route and buy one of these T536 LiXP saws. So now you got to look at, the financial aspects of owning one saw compared to the other. And, we showed you the difference inside of the internals between the new battery powered chainsaw, and you already know what all is involved in a regular gas powered chainsaw, so we didn't bother tearing that one apart. But there's a few more advantages to the T536 LiXP that don't show up on paper, that a lot of people don't think about unless you're using one every day. But a big advantage to having one of these saws, if you're up in a bucket, you don't have to shut it off. You don't have to be up there pulling a rope and restarting it or anything like that. Just squeeze the trigger and go. It's just instant torque. You squeeze that throttle and that chain's spinning full speed. There's no rev up, nothing like that. You can hook it on your belt or on a rope. You don't have to be up in a tree pulling a rope to start it up, shut it off, start it up, shut it off. You just grab the throttle and go. Real simple. That saves a lot of time, a lot of headaches. Makes it easier, especially if you're working in a tight place. Another big advantage for the T536 LiXP is if you do carvings, you're usually stuck outside working on these things because you got the exhaust coming out of the chainsaw. This thing's battery powered, no emissions, so you can do indoor stuff. You could do, craft shows and things like that, big chainsaw events, stuff, where you can do your wood carving inside. Carve something out of a tree or whatever indoors for everybody to see. If you're working at your shop, bring your stuff inside, work on it inside. Why be out in the cold? Another advantage of the T536 LiXP on the dealer technician side is the fact that just like an auto-tune chainsaw, you can actually plug this T536 LiXP saw into the common service tool, and you can see what the runtime is on it and a couple other important facts about the saw. It's stored in the saw's logbook in the history there. And you can also do this with the battery. You can also bring up, the information about the battery, see how many times it's been charged, and what it's got going on. So that's pretty handy there. But really, there's not a whole lot of upkeep to these things. Like you saw in the picture what's inside that saw, and in the parts list there, we were listing some of the common stuff. I mean, the main things are that electric motor, that control module, and your throttle switch, basically. So not a whole lot that can go wrong with them, but it's still nice to be able to plug that in there, and if somebody's trading this thing in, or a couple different scenarios that could pop up where that's handy information to have as to the history of the saw and what it's been through. So hopefully you learned a little bit here, and you have a better idea of how this newer battery powered equipment compares to its gas powered counterparts. This was a really good comparison to do because these two saws, being so similar in size, and they're fairly close in price. If you're an arborist, this is definitely worth a try. What do you got to lose? Especially, like I said, if you're somebody that's going up in a bucket all the time, or you're climbing trees, definitely give it a try. You talk to your Husqvarna dealer. You can probably get one to demo. Not every dealership does that, but it's something that's out there. I know there's a lot of commercial reps out there now that have them. They pass them around to these bigger companies and stuff. Let them try it out. Take advantage of it if you can get one to try, because nothing's going to beat actually putting it in your hand and putting it to the test yourself. When you think of the battery powered equipment, until you try this new stuff, you're going to be stuck on what you've used before, in the past, and this stuff blows away that old stuff. It's a night and day difference. So you get the opportunity, try out the top handle battery saw, the T536 LiXP. Try out the trimmers, try out the leaf blower, all that stuff. Give it a whirl. You saw what the savings are there as far as the fuel and this comparison. And a lot of the other ones are the same way. And if you've already got the batteries and you've got the charger for this saw, you can buy the trimmer separate. You can buy a hedge trimmer separate. You can buy a leaf blower separate. You've already got everything else. So, it just makes everything look even better then, because you're breaking that cost of those batteries and that charger up over multi pieces of equipment. Your operating and upkeep costs go way down, per piece of equipment. So thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and be sure to leave us some feedback once you get to try out one of these new battery-powered pieces of equipment. Even with some other brand. Let us know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Don't just, leave comments bashing it, that you think it's going to be this or you think it's going to be that. We want to hear honest, real feedback from other people that have actually ran this equipment like we have actually ran this equipment. So let's hear it. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more.